met somebody who, I think she got them for free.
Oh my
And
gosh.
somebody made these and then either donated or didn't want them anymore. But for determinate potatoes, they're the perfect size.
I like it. I like it. Free is
Determinate
good.
tomatoes, they're
Yeah.
the perfect size because they're bushy and they don't get as big. Indeterminate won't do well with little steaks.
So, okay, tell me, these are spaced how far apart? You
These are
gotta-
spaced 2 feet apart in between each
Every single.
tomato plant. So each one of these will get bushy and probably about 4 feet tall. And they'll all produce pretty much at the same time.
Did you say these are determinate?
These are determinates.
Determinate, so they're not going to get higher
They're
than
not going
these
to get real high.
And you're going to use this technique called Florida weave,
Yes.
and that's what you're going to use twine or yarn or string or
Yarn,
something.
string in between.
Okay. Can you show me how you pound these things? This is pretty cool.
Sure. This is just a post hole pounder. It's better than a sledgehammer. You just drop it down. You're done.
All right, so that puts it down 8 inches or something.
Nice little workout.
Yeah. How'd you get this job? I mean, how'd you luck out with this job?
I like this job. I'm so tired of planting. I run a church garden down in Fayetteville with 10 60-foot rows, and I've been doing nothing but planting.
Kneeling, huh? In the mud.
Yeah, and I used to work at a resort when I was a young man. We planted 6,000 annuals every spring. So I learned early on that I wanted to run the rototiller, and my short Italian girlfriend would run the plants and just go like this all day long with a trowel. Boom, boom, boom.
You got that, everybody?
Yeah.
Choose your job wisely.
Anyway, this is up my alley.
Okay, so now these are wobbly.
Yep. So they're wobbly. So I just stick them in at first,
Yeah.
and this drives them down about 8 inches, and that's all you need.
So this keeps these plants from tipping over in the wind, blowing
Tipping over in the wind. It creates space for air, so you get less fungus.
Oh yeah, air circulation.
Air circulation.
Right. Keeps all the
And,
keeps the tomatoes off the ground, right?
It
Keeps
does.
everything up high.
And it looks like a garden.
And so you don't use cages. You don't use any kind of.
Well, for these, you know, cages were kind of an invention of somebody once upon a time. But if you try to grow an indeterminate tomato in a tomato cage,
Yeah.
in about 1 month, it's too small. So the tomatoes go up over the top of the cage, and then they fall over, and the stems break. So if we're growing indeterminate tomatoes, you have to have really tall stakes, or there's a new method that I'm trying on my home garden, where you grow it on a string.
Right.
A piece of twine, and you wrap the plant around the twine as it grows.
So you have a high tunnel, or something. How are you hanging your strings?
I built a bamboo trellis.
A bamboo trellis. Okay.
So I stuck bamboo in the ground, and then I tied it together and made a trellis. And then from the top piece, I tie a string with a slip knot, and I just drop the string down and tie it at the base of the tomato plant. And as the tomato plant starts to grow, I wrap the tomato plant around the string, maintaining, it's called the French method. You maintain a very strong central leader, and that's what you wrap around the string. So at the end of the season, you've got 6 to 8 foot tall, beautiful tomatoes.
Yep. And you're harvesting at the bottom at the beginning, and then at the end of the season,
That's right, you
tomatoes
harvest at the top.
continue at the end of the vine.
And the only thing I'm nervous about, I don't know if my trellis is going to be strong enough.
Gotcha.
So I might redo it out of something stronger than bamboo. But I have bamboo in my
It's the
property.
old clothesline kind of thing. Except
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty strong.
10 feet tall, you said, or how high?
Well, I made my trellis 9 feet tall, and then pounded it down a foot into the ground. So it's 8 feet from the ground. So it's up here. So they will grow that far.
Indeterminate ones, right?
Indeterminate, right? Because otherwise it's just a jungle. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but every time I grow indeterminate tomatoes, I'm also spacing 3 feet apart instead of 2.
All the same kind of variety, or are you mixing? Or
No, all indeterminate, but I've got a mix of
Varieties.
like Cherokee Purple, Heirloom.
so
Brandywine.
do you save your seed?
I'm going to start this year. I know what you're doing, because in my church garden now we're saving some kale seed. And we like to leave the kale in bloom anyway because it's a great pollinator. But I'm going to start doing it. I've been a gardener a long time, 40-year hiatus as a realtor, but just moved to Georgia from upstate New York and did a lot of gardening. So
you've got the experience, right? And you know what? I just was reading about saving heirloom seeds. They started talking about the minimum spacing. Even though tomatoes are self-fertilizing, they normally just stay true. If you have two heirlooms next to each other, they start to share little bits of genetic material.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, and so that yours will become different over year after year is what they were saying. Yours and mine are going to stay just fine, right?
For our lifespan.
But the article was saying everybody else better space them, and I was really disappointed to hear them say it wasn't just 6 feet apart or 4 feet apart. They said it was something impossible for a home garden. It was like 100 feet or something, you know, and I was like, to keep them true. So when you buy heirloom seeds from a reputable company, I imagine they are following those guidelines to keep them true,
over
which
time,
I'm happy to hear.
No, I saw what you're doing, and I'm just so impressed by it. I didn't jump in. In fact, this is my first volunteer hours.
Really?
I'm working 30 hours at my church
garden. We're all doing so much.
And I pick up grandchildren, and I'm a realtor helping my...
Yes,
I'm like,
that's why...
I got to